And yes, a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen and pool fans, to Pro Billiard TV and the 2026 Predator Pro Billiard Series. We're coming to you from deep in the Alps, the idyllic Hotel Alpina Alpendorf, and you join us just as we've opened up this winners' first round matchup between Kristina Tkach, Linnea Hjalmarström. Linnea winning the lag, making success off the break and putting Kristina in trouble and being rewarded with ball in hand. This is 10 ball, best of 3 sets, races to 4 per set. Winner breaks, shot clock is in play. There's no early 10s, and this is going to be an exciting matchup. Linnea, very determined, capable, and starting to deliver on the Pro Billiard Series events. Kristina, well, focused and flying. Probably on paper, the pundits would have Kristina down as favourite, but let me tell you, Linnea is a very gritty, determined player and does rise to the challenge. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. In fact, in this Billiards Carrinho Women's Open, 64 players, and they are the top players in the world, fighting for $90,000 prize pool. And I'll give you a bit of information as to matches happening elsewhere in the arena, and you'll start to understand why. Linnea's picking these off nicely. Probably left a little bit more of an angle than she wanted on this 6, but it does pass the 8. Just needs particular not to lose shape for the 7. And in fact, she's played that even better, playing it thicker than she would have if she played it directly, and using the rail and the 8 ball, ensuring she held for this 7. So good early opening signs from Linnea, especially if her break's working. And she'll really not be wanting to give Kristina many opportunities. And it looks like she's come out with the game plan of putting Kristina in trouble if the offense isn't available. With ball in hand, offense was definitely available. She's played a lovely shot there, bringing the cue ball round the table, back for the 9. And this will really just allow her to stretch her arms a little bit and get the feel of the table. Both players did have a good half an hour plus on the table to warm up. But gameplay can always just add that extra little dynamic of pressure. You wouldn't notice that from looking at Linnea here, though. She's picked these off very nicely. And this 10 ball sends a message over to Kristina that she's come here to play. Winning off a break. And we return for the 2nd rack. And yes, my name is Gethin Davis. I'll be flying solo with you on this match. And I'll be keeping you updates as they come in thick and fast from the arena. Just of note, we have streaming 3 live tables for you on Pro Billiard TV. And over on our other table, table 1, Jasmine Ushan meets up against Ina Kaplan, with commentating from my dear colleagues Tim Dedauter and Mark White. And over on table 3, another exciting prospect, Savannah Roadrunner Easton from America, taking on Sandra Baumgartner. They are all big names out there and all very capable. So Linnea with her 2nd break, made the 5 on the last. Will be looking to make a ball again. The 1 did take a friendly knock, and it threatened the side pocket, but it hasn't dropped, and that will bring Kristina back to the table. As you can see from the overhead, but locked up against the 7, or rather is dressed up against the 7 there. So this is not a formality for either player, but Kristina with the first opportunity. Kristina's been having a great 2026, finished 2025 in style as well. Very much making a mark on the Pro Billiards series. And she's just had a little second glance of that 5. Something will need to happen if she would like to continue with the run out at this opportunity. However, if she feels that that's just not going to happen from where the 4 ball is positioned, there are opportunities to play safe from it. And we'll get to see what she has in mind here. Both players playing from young ages and bring a wealth of experience. Well, I think she was hoping for a contact, something friendly. The cue ball's rested very close to it, which will promote her being able to glance off an edge. She's looking to play off this left edge of the 5 and bring the 7 for cover. That corner pocket is looming, so needs to be very precise, especially stretching using the Predator extension. Oh, she played that really well. I'm not sure if Linnea can see an edge of the 5. If she can, well, that will certainly help. Otherwise, it's a difficult escape from here. That's probably the best she could do. Didn't want to release that 5 too much to make it available for the top right pocket. Does now throw it over to Kristina. And the problem she has is for an attacking shot, that cue ball really needs to come to the bottom half of the table for the 6, as the 10 is blocking it for the bottom left. Called a combination, made the combination, didn't feel that that was on. I didn't hear the call. Fantastic, and good shape on the 5 here. Very aggressive. And that seems to have paid off. Position on the 6. Ideally needs to avoid the 10. Has done very nicely with check spin on that cue ball. Holds it high on the 8. Straight from the get-go, both these ladies showing as they've come here to play. And the only difference so far is reward from safety play. However, the score with this 10 will be 1-1. And it will be our first opportunity to have a look at Kristina's break. And will that be a difference in this match? We've seen it in previous games. Some players just getting to grips with the break that bit earlier, and in these short races to 4 best-of-3 set formats, it can really swing the score quickly. A couple of fans in the background who will imagine the arena will start filling up a little bit more as the day progresses, and you will need to be setting your reminders for today. We had an absolutely wonderful opening round of Predator mixed doubles matches yesterday evening, and we'll be finishing off today with more mixed doubles action. And let me tell you, the thrills and spills are to behold. Will we get the same in this matchup? Kristina to break, 1-1 opening set. Well, try break. A cut on the 1 ball if Linnea wants to take it on. I thought I just caught her pointing to the right side pocket, so maybe looking to play a safety and calling the right side pocket as just a bit of insurance. May have been mistaken. And that's what she was doing. And her primary focus was to get that cue ball locked near the 7 or on the 7. Hasn't worked out. The cue ball may have just run into a position where Kristina can't take this on. It does look like there's enough of a gap. Kristina's body language suggests that that's what she's going to take on here. No. And even if it was on, just looking at the opportunity to get for the 2, I don't think that was on. Kristina's played a great shot here. Left Linnea with a possibility of a jump shot. I think she has brought a jump stick. She played it very well, keeping good control of the cue ball, just not making the pot. Now, that 1 does not have the bottom left pocket available. Kristina will look to just keep putting pressure on in the safety department. And she does keep good focus on that cue ball. Another half a roll up against that 6 would have made this even more treacherous. However, now there should be the 1 rail escape, as you can see from Linnea just addressing with her cue. Needs to give this a little bit of premise, as doesn't want to leave the 1 in the open. Played it gently, looked like she was going for the pot as well, but has been rewarded with a safe 1 ball. And Kristina with a laser focus on position for that cue ball. Really going to feel that that could be a difference in today's match. It just takes away so many of your opponent's options if you can get the best possible cue ball in the safety scenario. Linnea again successful with the 1 rail escape and not far away from making that pot. However, this time The 1 has refused to go into a safe position, and now the opportunity that Kristina's been working hard to get, she now has got. Will she be able to convert this at this visit? Well, a little raise of the hand to Linnea. A friendly bump, should we say, on that blue 2. Could have gone a little bit haywire, but hasn't. And with, as it looks from this angle, the 5 will pass the 6 as well, so has options for the 5. Kristina quite active on social media. Suggest if you're searching her up, she puts out a lot of content, some of it quite fun as well, but she does have such a commitment for the game. Her passion is clearly there and running high, and it's great to see bringing more people into the sport and bringing more attention for the sport. And this 6 ball just needs to be treated carefully to ensure that she's got the shape on the 7 she wants for the 7 to 8. And she's drawn that back very nicely. Looks like it's just come back enough to leave an angle. Kristina, she'll just pop the cue ball onto the long rail here. As you can see from this camera angle, she'll be looking to get that cue ball as straight a line as she can. Oh, and that's not far off at all. And then they had the right idea in the opening rack. Had success from the break, didn't have the opportunity to go aggressive and put Kristina in trouble. It got her ball in hand, and Linnea, in quick fashion, got the first point on the board. But so far, Kristina has just sort of responded with some great safety play of her own, and she's been able, with this 10, to win the next 2, which she has done. And brings her into the lead, 2-1, race to 4. So good positive signs for Tkach. And a couple of things for Linnea to consider. However, in open play, I feel she is as formidable as ever. Maybe just needs to tighten up a little bit in the safety department. Have a quick look around at the other scores coming in. I mentioned over on table 1 another clanger of a match. Jasmine Ushan taking on Ina Kaplan. Well, Jasmine's just stole a march there, winning the opening 2 racks in the first set. And over on table... Oh, I think Savannah's match has actually moved from table 3. And we'll just get an update on that. But the score in Savannah's match, she's trailing 1-0 to Sandra Baumgartner in the opening set. So if our viewers are watching a different match on table 3, don't be alarmed or confused. That's my mistake, as the tables have been updated. Now, a little stretch of the neck from Kristina. Breaking from the side, leading 2-1 in this opening set. Whoa. Well, the 1 threatened, but it didn't, and the 3 took a friendly bump from the 8 and has dropped. couple of other balls have tracked towards the corner pockets, but the one sadly has fallen up on that top short rail and not really given much for Kristina to attack. So safety is the best option, and a nice containing safety here, bringing the 7 and 9 into play. Fully expect Linnea to escape from this, but not guaranteed where that one ball will end up. It looks like Linnea is hoping that one ball will end up potting the 2 in the bottom right corner, so keep your eye on the 2 ball. Keep your eye on the 2 ball. Wasn't far away. It was going in the direction Linnea was anticipating. Now, what sort of gap is that 2 left for Kristina to attack with this 1? Needed to make contact with the blue 2, and that's pushed it out across the table. And the cue ball's come up to meet it, so Kristina probably forced into playing another safety here, but she won't mind that. There's certainly options for her to aim that cue ball for. Yeah, full ball cover with the 6. Linnea coming to the table with not much at the moment. All it will take is a good escape and a bit of fortune, you feel. She certainly knows her angles well. I'm just wondering if there's a possibility that the escape she's considering, there's a chance of potting that 2 ball in the bottom left pocket. Yeah, it was a tough shot to take on. That 10 ball was very threatening where it was as well. And with her persistence, Kristina has got ball in hand. A good spread of the balls. 5 looks like it passes the 6 into the bottom left, which is helpful as the 10 is in its way for the bottom right. And this position from 4 to 5 is going to be one of the tougher shots in this closing pattern, you feel. Oh, she played that fantastic. Very difficult to judge. Pace of the cue ball coming out off that long rail, and she's finished in prime position for this 5 with the right angle just to connect back for the 6. And yeah, she's been fighting hard, employing her safety play to get these opportunities, and if she can continue converting them, she is really going to cause a problem for Linnea here. Yep. Very methodical when the pattern reveals itself to Kristina. And you have to say, solid stuff. Both players not making many mistakes, if any at all, but just solid, safe play and waiting for the first to falter. And then it's pounce. so far. In the pounce department, Kristina is now 3-1 with this 10 ball and finds herself on the hill in quick fashion. And with the break is going to ask a question of Linnea. She's certainly not out of this first set, but it's going to be a bit of a hill to climb. It'll be interesting to see how she does respond if she gets back to the table. As you can see from our statistics department, thank you very much, Michael, we have 30 balls potted for Kristina, 10 for Linnea. Equaling the breaks. I really do think the safety department will be the difference to consider as this match progresses. And a little update from our other TV table between Jasmine Ushan and Ina Kaplan. Ina's taken the third rack in the first set. And the referee doing a fantastic job. All of our referees are here at the Alpina Alpendorf Hotel. We are deep in the Alps. Normally, players would be walking in snow boots to the arena, but not this time of year. In fact, the temperature is really warming up out there. I'm looking to enjoy 30 degrees in European temperature. That's around 90 Fahrenheit. But it looks lovely and cool in that arena. Kristina to break, perhaps for the opening set. Well, try break. And that will keep our statman interested. This one is definitely on, but there's going to be a bit of work for Linnea to do here to get anything on this blue 2. I'm not sure if it's available for the bottom right either. That would only leave the left side and the left top pocket for it once this white has been potted. Once the one, rather, has been potted. So with the extension as well, this is a very, very difficult shot for Linnea to take on. Oh, she felt there was value, but in having to put so much power into the shot, it compromises the pot, and these Predator arc tables are cut very tightly, and the harder you hit them, the more precise you need to be. It's still not obvious how Kristina can also get position for the blue 2. It may just be pot the 1. I was going to say pot the 1 and look to play a safe from the 2, but if that passes the 3, she could be to the races here. As you could see from that camera angle, she was never going for the pot. It was all about getting good safe. And on this occasion, and I would say a rare occasion, Kristina hasn't got that cue ball close enough to the object ball, or rather, not as close as we tend to see from her. And that may have just leaked enough of a gap for Linnea to consider the jump, but she's kept the playing cue in her hand, a 2-rail escape, and it was a difficult shot to take on. Just wanted to catch that edge of it, the thinnest of edges. So again, the safety from Kristina paying off. And with the 2 out the way, the pattern opens itself up very nicely on the table. It's really, which pocket is Kristina looking to put that 5 ball in? As you can see, there's a couple of pockets not available for it. The 7, the 8 and the 10 all seem to be spoiling a couple of pockets. So it will likely have to be one of the side pockets. We know Kristina does like to play the draw shot. And we can see why she likes to. She has great control over that. If anything, she probably just brought that cue ball back a little too far to want to naturally float down for the 6. Yeah, she didn't have the opportunity to float down, so she's just taken her oats and will have to swallow a slightly higher level of difficulty on the 6. And played it well. Let the cue ball do the work to come back up to the 7. And you have to say, this has looked very solid so far from Kristina. Not really any big mistakes from Linnea, aside of a couple of missed attempts at getting out of some tough safety positions, but that's really more of a testament to Kristina. However, she's looking very confident, composed, and she's been very much delivering on the Pro Billiards Series circuit. And she looks to be continuing it here in Austria, at least so far in this opening set. Kristina Tkach puts that 10 ball away and takes our opening set 4-1. And I'd have to say in quite convincing style, even after a very good start from Linnea. Kristina has just been And a warm welcome back, ladies and gentlemen and pool fans, to Pro Billiard TV and to the second set of this winners' first round matchup of the Billiards Carrinho Women's Open. Kristina Tkach takes on Linnea Hjalmarström. The story so far, well, Linnea got off to a great start, but Kristina has just notched it up a gear, and she was able to take the first set comfortably 4-1. My name is Gethin Davis, bringing you the live action here at the idyllic Hotel Alpina Alpendorf, deep in the Austrian Alps. But who will be hearing the sound of music? So far, it looks like Kristina, and she will get us off to start in this second set. Linnea looking for an opportunity to get her teeth back into this. This could be that moment. It's a dry break, and from that overhead looks like there's a good opportunity to take the one on here. only problem is getting back across for the 2. You really want to be getting shape on that 2 for the top left. Oh, and she's been able to find the gap behind around, rather, the 6. And that will be a very confidence-inspiring opener for her. And now gives her a very good chance to get shape on the 3. This is a very tough table to take on. Now with this angle, she may look to come across the table, taking the long rail underneath the 9 ball to come back across if she's looking to find the window for the 4. She's called her extension quite rightly. This is all about pace if she takes it on this way. She may even want to pick up a 3rd long rail. Oh, no, she doesn't feel the values there. So she's going to freeze the cue ball. Oh, and she's locked it up against the 5. That is what she needed to do, and our astute eagle-eyed viewers will have been picking up on the stats earlier that in the defence department, Kristina was really leading the march. I alluded to it, eking out the more mistakes from the opponent, which did reward her with the first set. It looks like now she's getting a taste of her own medicine from Linnea, who quite rightly turned down that 3. It was always going to be difficult to continue the run out from there. And well, Kristina didn't even attempt to go for it. She looked to push the 5 purposefully, but didn't really do anything with it to cause Linnea a problem. So looks like Linnea's going on the attack, and from the overhead, if that 7 does make its way to the bottom left pocket, this is a very promising opportunity for the young Swede. Yeah, she's left herself a decent enough angle to get that cue ball around out towards centre table. Doesn't want to flirt too much with the 8 ball, didn't. No. I'm going to assume that 7 ball does go to the bottom left. Otherwise, Linnea's just going to need to be a bit more particular about position on the 6. Judging by the way she's played this, it does. And this is very reminiscent of how Linnea came out the blocks in our opening set, taking the opening rack. This is what we've been enjoying from her over the past few years on our Predator events. Doesn't want too much of a bounce, hasn't. Or has it? May be forced to have to put a shot on this, or just accept a little bit more of a trickier 9. Not for Linnea. She's put a shot on it. Needs it to keep going. Oh, does she? She's called the side pocket. This would all be about pace and accuracy. All about pace and accuracy. And as with our opening set, Linnea Hjalmarström, with a very dominating performance, takes the opening rack, and, well, maybe the break has just allowed her to focus on something, or maybe take a little bit of something out of play. But if it's the option to go on the offense, she certainly can back it up. No, she only had the first 2 breaks in the opening set, so she hasn't really had much opportunity to get into the break. So she'll be a little bit colder. So Linnea Hjalmarström to break, leading 1 rack to 0 in the second set. Must-win set for her to stay in this match. And she's made the 1 off the break. That 8 ball looks like it's spoiling the 2 for the top corner. And if that is the case, I was going to say that might promote Linnea to consider a safety. However, she's called the bank shot here. And if she can hold the cue ball on the right side of the 3 as we're looking at it, it could really reward her very nicely. Yeah, she's done that very nice. Bank the 2, shape on the 3. She's just checking to see if the 4 passes the 7 into the side pocket, because that's really what she'll be looking for with the natural angle off this 3. And she'd like to be low of it, because that 5 is not going to be going into that top right pocket where the 6 is. Could be a combination there if she's left with no other option, but the way she's played for this 4, yeah, as you can see from the tip of her cue, she should be able to drop very nicely down here. And good early signs from Linnea in this second set. Do feel she has a wonderful attacking and offensive brain. And she's not afraid to take on the big shots either, which can really be the difference in some of these closer encounters. Just having a look at the 9 ball. I think she should be able to avoid that. Indeed she was. Needed the cue ball to take a bit more of a healthier bounce off the rail. However, can just focus on the 7 here. And come back across the table for the 8 into the top right corner. And this has been, well, not the most straightforward of patterns for Linnea, and firing on from her opening rack in this second set, her confidence should be starting to brim soon. This 7 will certainly help. Fantastic. Okay, that's a good angle. May prefer to come down bottom left of the table here. Not too sure if she can come back across the table twice. She was, and that's what she's attempted, but it did need a little bit more power in the shot. And that's a disappointing miss from Linnea, as she'd put all the hard work in this second rack. And it would be a bit of an insult for Kristina just to be able to steal it at the end. But this 9 in the side pocket will put her in the best position to do that, and very unexpected return to the table for Kristina. But she will not mind stealing a point in that fashion. Let's hope that hasn't dented Linnea at all, because I have to say she's come out looking formidable for the second set and really up for it, and was very close to taking the 2-0 lead, a very useful 2-0 lead, but now it's 1 apiece. Over on our other TV table, Jasmine Ushan has taken the opening set against Ina Kaplan and is already flying in the second set, taking the opening rack. We have a very interesting match between Jiaofang Fu and Kennedy Mayman. That's currently still in the first set, locked at 3-3. They're on the hill. And Savannah Easton from the US also has taken the opening set against Sandra Baumgartner and is pushing on. She's 1-0 up in the second. I will steal a few more updates from the scoreboard as they come in and we have the opportunity to, but please, if you want to go and look for yourselves, visit probilliardseries.com, where you'll get links to not only this women's event, but we have the men's open and the mixed doubles open underway. And if you're enjoying Pro Billiard TV and the stream that we're bringing, streams, please do like, share and subscribe. Now, how was Kristina's break? The 1 is available, but did she make any off the break? No, it's dry. And then they're just having a little look at the 4-9 cluster. Does make any options for that 4 rather limited. But not if you play it like that. What a shot. That's one of the shots of the match so far for me. That needed a certain amount of finesse, but also she needed to put a bit of venom on the cue ball to get back out for the 2. She's judged that so well. Is the confidence at the level that she wants? I think it is. And after playing that fantastic shot to kick the 4 out into open play, this has now turned into a really nice opportunity. And such a shame that Kristina was able to steal the last one. Ooh, as I say that, a little look away of disgust from Linnea. That cue ball just got a little bit too much energy. Thin cut on the 5. I was a bit worried that Linnea was going to rush into this shot. She doesn't need to do so. She's called her extension. So it's very easy to get frustrated. But this is going to happen. Fantastic. Fantastic. Cue ball could do with slowing up, but fantastic. Called her extension. Step back into her pre-shot routine. Played a fantastic pot. Just a little bit loose with the cue ball, which is to be expected with cuts of such a thin nature. And that's a very nice looking shot to get herself out of whatever trouble she found herself in. Loaded up with check side on the cue ball. And a very nice position on the 7. We'll need to bring it in and off this long rail for the 8, but she plays them shots delightfully and has given herself every opportunity of sticking her nose back out in the lead again. And again, just leaving enough angle to punch the cue ball in off that long rail. Ooh. Would have wanted a bit of the long rail. Just came up a bit too far and has been spoiled a little bit by the jaws of the side pocket, making this 10 a little bit more treacherous. However, fully within Linnea's remit. And does make the 10. And in this third set, you have to say it's all Linnea. Aside of that little cheeky steal at the end of the second rack, Linnea has come out of the break firing on certainly more cylinders than she was able to fire on in the first set, but that was really down to Kristina keeping her in tough positions. So this match is brewing up very, very nicely, and Linnea will be looking to push on and close out this second set. A few updates still coming in from the arena. We've got Nakyung Song of South Korea is currently trailing 1-0 against Chihiro Kawahara of Japan. And another Japanese player, Yuki Hiraguchi, currently trailing 1-0 against the Chinese Taipei player Chi Yu Chao. Well, Chi Yu Chao was in action last night in one of the most fantastic matches I've ever had the pleasure of commentating on. A mixed doubles matchup which would have any pool fan salivating. If you want to go back and watch these matches that you may have missed and that we may talk about now and again, please do visit Pro Billiard TV series and the video channel, and they're all there. And I'm not going to give anything away about the scoreline, but I will tell you that it went all the way. So, bringing it back to this match, this is a double elimination event, 64 players, battling it out for a first prize of $27,000, a second prize of $15,750. Some big money out there for these ladies to fight for. Oh, and what a way to follow up that last performance in the third rack with a break like this. And on this occasion, the 8 hasn't come to spoil the party if she wants to go on the offense, by the looks of it. It is a little tricky to consider getting shape for the 2. Maybe running into the 4 to take the energy out of the cue ball to leave a long 2. But it starts to become a bit more low percentage. Yeah, it's a little tricky spot. She'd ideally be able to get that cue ball tracked down behind the 9 or something similar to that, but up against the 9 will do quite nicely as well, especially when that 1 ball has come around to get cover from the 2. Don't think there's an edge visible to Kristina. So jacking over the 9 ball as well, making the shot that bit harder. That's a good test of cueing that. Having to follow through and keep that cue ball without wanting any unnecessary side on it. That's paid off very nicely for Kristina. And a nice acknowledgement from Linnea as well. Good hit. Not a bad result, you have to say. If that 4 ball doesn't hamper the cue ball, Kristina has a better chance of guaranteeing the safety here. But if she has awkward cueing, it just makes it that bit more difficult. No, wasn't hampered by the 4 for the cueing. Not bad at all. A little distance between the 9 and the cue ball makes the jump shot very, very tricky. So Linnea taking an easier jump over the 4 and looking to come off the long rail. Wasn't far away at all. Great improvisation from her there. Sadly, didn't get the reward that it may have deserved. And now starting to feel a little bit more like the second half of the opening set. Kristina just chipping away with the safeties, just grinding it a little bit, turning the screw. And it did work well for her in the opening set. Linnea really hasn't given her the opportunity to do it yet so far in the second. She used all the pocket for that to ensure that she could get the cue ball to the position she wanted to. And she's just having a look at that 4. It's not completely obvious if the 4 passes the 9. But this is certainly an echo of the first set, with the grinding of safeties, getting the ball in hand and then pouncing. As you can see from this angle, there's half a pocket. And that was enough. And you have to say, looking out at the balls there, this should be good for Kristina to bring the scoreline back to level, and that will really stop, I feel, Linnea in her tracks a little bit. And let's hope it doesn't for the young Swede. But she was just flying along there very, very nicely. And it looks like Kristina is just wanting to knock the wind out of her sails through the safety game. A very wise man who may be responsible for bringing you all of the live statistics said something very interesting to me, which I have heard before, but it certainly sticks. Offense wins games, defense wins matches. Oh! Wow. No sooner said. Kristina, in a very unusual scratch with the cue ball, just losing the cue ball a slight, and it's Linnea's turn to steal that one. And what a timely time to be able to get to steal a frame away from Kristina, and it puts her on the hill, 3-1. Things looking a lot brighter. That's much nicer than 2-2. And Linnea will get the break. Just a quick look out. We already have a couple of results in. Another one of the performers from that illustrious mixed doubles match I was alluding to last night, Soa. She has won 2-0 against Romina Lenk. She won her doubles match, Soa, over on the other table, playing with Robbie Capito. And another result, Han Yu of China has bested Bojana Sarac 2-0 as well. So some early results in. Again, ProBilliardsSeries.com. You will find all of the latest scores as they come in. Now, big moment for Linnea. Would really like to pip this second set off and bring us to a third set decider. Well, that's the break she wanted. Making the one cleanly. How's that 3? No, 3's not going to misbehave either. Open shot on the 2. It's looking promising, but there is a bit of work to do still out there. Just having a good look at the angle she wants to leave herself on the 4. Yeah, she wants to stay high side of it so she can bring the cue ball over towards the right hand side of the table for the 5. And she's played that really nicely, confidently, 2 rails. She really does look like the confidence is brimming. That will work. This is a tricky shot down the rail, but the way she's played it, she should be able to track the cue ball back down towards the 10. Even taking a chunk of the 10, which will certainly help. And as I mentioned in the introduction, the 2 words I have to describe Linnea that are noted in my pad from previous events is determined and very capable. Well, she's showing both determination and capability right now. Nicely done on the 8. Got a feeling it's got both bottom corner pockets available. Because of the angle she's finished on this 10, it may just force her to come the other side of the 9 that she would traditionally want to get to pot it in the bottom right. No, it didn't really come down the table that far. She was coming down the right side as I suggested, and it does pass the 10 cleanly. But this is a real tester. This 9 ball, you'd have to say, is really the ball for the second set for her at this opportunity. Clean as a whistle, and the friendliest of bumps on the 10. Well, I'm afraid that's all deserved. This second set has seen a new Linnea at the table, or rather renewed vigour, and she takes it very convincingly 4-1, a complete mirror to the opening set. And Kristina Tkach, who had very much reward in the opening set by keeping Linnea really in trouble has found that Linnea's escaped that trouble. Riding a wave at the moment. My name is Gethin Davis, bringing you the action for this match. And, well, I'm not too sure what would have been said to themselves during the break, but for Linnea, she must be brimming with confidence. A quick summary. While, the cue ball nearly scratched, hasn't, and that may be hooked for position on the one. Can't see Kristina's face, but it looks like she could be hooked, which will make this shot very, very difficult, if not impossible. Yeah, as you can see, she was hooked, looking to push the 3 into a safe position. However, that's a very nice target over by the 3-7 for the cue ball. Or for the 1 ball even, and that's what Linnea's played. And yeah, just a quick summary for any viewers that are just joining us. Kristina Tkach, although Hjalmarström came out strong with a good break and the opening rack, Kristina just turned the screws in the safety department and just gave Linnea no room to move at all, and it rewarded her well with the opening set. The contrast in the second set is that Linnea was just able to pounce on every opportunity, made some good breaks as well. Only 2 real glaringly obvious miss shots from either player. Oh, and that's worked out nicely as well. So, 3-foul rule in effect makes this escape very interesting. Oh, she's played that clean. The cue ball stopped in its tracks. Looked like it was going to reward her with a safe, but the 1 is potted. That gave Linnea the chance, or rather the choice, to take this next shot on, and guaranteed she wasn't, because look where that 2 ball is. Two-rail escape. Tricky. Caught the 3rd rail. Did she catch a rail after contact? Appears she did. So great escape from the self-induced position she found herself in. But Linnea to the table with a good look at the 2. Not the scratch. Was very close to the scratch. Made sure of the 2. Now, would ideally like to develop this 4 from the 3 ball here. Otherwise, she's not going to have any options for potting it. And she elected against taking it on, electing to play safe. Very wise decision. You have to say, both these players with old heads on young shoulders. And reaping reward, but looking at that cluster there, maybe Linnea's thinking, oh, I'm going to pursue with the 3 fouls here, because the run out isn't completely obvious. And I don't mind her doing that, especially if she can maybe develop any of the problems that would be out there for if she did want to go on the offense. Played that well. Good cue ball. Something we were complimenting Kristina on in the opening set. Linnea's safety game has got a lot tighter as this match has progressed, and this again, very tough spot for Kristina. Wow, she has got a result. Great contact and full ball cover, or at least enough cover to warrant Linnea to play the jump shot here. Oh, what a fantastic response to the position she found herself in. How's the cue ball behaved? Well, she's left herself an edge of the fort. Not sure if she can slide off it to bring the cue ball into a safe position. Is she going to go offense and play the cross bank with an element of safety in mind? She's called the cross bank. And she did play it with an element of insurance. Great control with the cue ball. May have been unfortunate in leaving a look on the fort for Kristina, but no opportunity to take on a pot. I see that. Unless Kristina picks out a combination, of course, which she's more than capable of doing. I would imagine just safe is the aim. And that, I'm afraid, is not safe. And a little smirk from Tkach as she returns back to her chair. Maybe just feeling things are going a little bit against her. That's the nature of pool. Now, dare I say, just the wrong side of the 5 to play naturally up for the 6. May look to deep draw into the long rail and back out. She's played a few like that today to great effect, and yet again, what grit and determination from this Swedish woman. Would have been very easy to drop your head after the performance in the opening set from Kristina. Maybe even just concerned that you're never getting to the table with an open shot. But she has stayed in there, and following the break after the first set, has looked in formidable form. What a message to send across to her opponent. Perfect positioning. Good break. Made a ball. Remain at the table. Good look on the 1. However, not much value in pursuing it, I believe. That 3 is a tricky ball to get position on. I wonder if she can play off the left side of the 1 to bring the cue ball behind the 4-9. There was enough for her to be able to flick the cue ball behind the 5, which she's done very well. And I tell you, this is a bit like Kristina being given a taste of her own medicine, as this is exactly what she was doing to Linnea in the opening set. Again, Kristina making a fantastic 2-rail escape. She's made a few of them in this match. I'll have a quick look at the stats to see if and how many she hasn't made, because it feels like she'll make most of the escapes that Linnea's put her in. This one, well, Linnea has really locked this quite nicely. That 10 ball eliminating most of the options. Kristina contemplating the 3/4 rail escape here. 1, 2, 3 needs to... just needed to slide a little bit more. It didn't. There's a bit of a bonus for Linnea. That's opened up the 4. However, offense not a consideration at the moment from the looks of Linnea. Or can she? Yeah, the 3 passes the 8 now. Oh no, I think she's not playing this one. Or is she? She's keeping me on my toes. No, from the way she was dressing the cue, she was looking to throw the 1 ball top right of the table. Oh, another tough position Kristina found herself in, and this time unable to get out of it. So Linnea with ball in hand. And as I mentioned, that earlier shot opened up the 4. So there is the opportunity to run out at this visit. And as we've seen in the second set and in the opening here, Linnea fully prepared to take them out. Floating the cue ball down. It's quite close to the cushion, which was going to make stopping this cue ball that bit more difficult for Linnea. So she's played the cue ball into a position where I believe she's going to try and play safe from this. cue ball. Ooh, looked like it was threatening the corner pocket. But that didn't work out for Linnea there. There may have been better options for her, but under the shot clock, strange things can happen, and it's a little bit unusual from her. I don't think she's sold out, but she's let Kristina back to the table with not as much difficulty as she's been leaving her in so far, and well, Kristina didn't need asking twice, and she's tucked that away and finished nicely for the 7-8 combination. She plays them well, however, has she not got away with it this time? That 9 is blocking the path for the 7 to the bottom right. She's going to need to be forced, rather, to take this on to the bottom left pocket where the 10 is. Clean as a whistle. Not a bad response, and really, just from Linnea's shot, in a rare occasion, just wasn't good enough to keep Kristina in trouble. And she'll be forgiven with that slip up, but it does mean that Kristina gets the point on the board and brings the scoreline back to 1-1. And she'll get the break. Is it too early, viewers, to start talking about the format here? If we are to rest at 3-3 in this deciding set, we will move to a shootout. As I alluded to, the mixed doubles match last night went all the way to a shootout. And, well, I can't imagine how daunting it is for the players out there, but boy, does it keep you entertained in your chairs back at home. However, both these ladies will be looking to avoid that and take this match cleanly without the need of a shootout. It will be Kristina Tkach to the table to break us off in this third rack of the final set. It's 1-1. And Tkach has been regularly finding that one ball in the side pocket. This time, unfortunately not. I'm not sure she's left enough of an angle on this one to take the pot onto the bottom right corner, but there is a good opportunity for Linnea to bring the cue ball over bottom left of the table, or even up towards the 5, and throw the 1 around. Doesn't want it to catch the middle jaw. It has. That side pocket looming large. That's not a bad safety at all. I don't think there's the window past the 5. There certainly isn't, and now Linnea in a very tricky position. That 7 also threatening. She's going to need to come underneath and pick up that second rail on the top of the table. No, she went direct for it, 1 rail, and that 7 was always looming large. Ball in hand. No real offensive options for Kristina, so looking to search for that second foul. I stand corrected. Kristina has other ideas. Well, every ball out there has a pocket. I'm just looking at the 6, does it? If the 6 has the top left available, and Kristina really doesn't need to do too much with that cue ball. You just see in the top right of the screen there, the back of Jasmine Ushan. It does look like she's putting away her equipment. That would mean that she's taken a comfortable 2-0 win over Ina Kaplan. That had all the hallmarks of being a very tough contest. This one also, and this one living up to the hype. I'm going to suggest the 6 makes its way to the top left pocket comfortably. It does look tight from the main camera angle. And this is a very important time for Kristina. Linnea has been building and building quite nicely. And she was really looking up for this third set as well. This would snuff out the flame a little bit, but it still will make this all to play for. Little trot back to the chair for the extension. Just adding that to a cue. It's quite a long cue, it looks like. Anyway. Oh. Well, the cue ball was moving. It didn't rub the 9. The 10 may be hampering her cueing here. Fantastic. How's the pace, though? How is the pace, though? Well, a little bit more of an angle than she'd hoped. Linnea sat in a chair, can do nothing but look on. This 10 to take the lead at a crucial point in this second set. Third and deciding set. Ooh, we're getting to that stage of the match. It wasn't an easy cut, though. However, Hjalmarström out of her chair with a little look for a steal. Kristina was able to steal one in the second set. Can Linnea do the same here? No, she couldn't, but she may have got away with that somewhat. And yep, the best option, and played very well. And this time, Linnea's got a much more difficult shot on her hands. She's called the top left corner pocket. Oh, it wasn't to be. And look where that 10 ball has run to. Well, Linnea did get her chance there. But it will be Kristina Tkach with this 10. It takes a 2-1 lead in this third deciding set, which will add the pressure to Linnea. But as this match is showing, there were many opportunities for a little swing in momentum. We bring up the statistics for you to have a look at. I'll just give you a couple of updates for any other results that have come in. Looks like Chu Wei has bested Venus Lim 2-0 straight sets, and Cha Hua Chen has won in straight sets against Chantal Stadler from Germany, and Wan Ling Wan from Chinese Taipei has beaten the Dutch lady Tara Verharen in straight sets. If you want to keep an eye on the scores and also these wonderful live statistics, please do visit ProBilliardSeries.com, and you'll have links to not only the Billiards Carrinho Women's Open, but also the Billard Beckman Men's Open and the Predator Mixed Doubles Open. We're on day 3 of 8. And I've got a feeling most of the matches are going to be hard-fought contests like this. Kristina with the break, leading 2-1 in the deciding set. Well, the 5 drops, not really much to bite at with the 1. And what looks a bit of a gnarly cluster up just underneath where her hand is. It does create a good opportunity for cover. Ooh, a bit unfortunate. A bit unfortunate. I'm not sure if the 1 goes to the side pocket though. It looks like it's frozen against the 3. And they're just having a little look. Maybe it does. However, not guaranteed to get around for the blue 2. Oh, don't go behind the 8. Don't go behind the 8. That's very unfortunate, Linnea. Don't think she deserved that, but that's what's resulted. Now, she stayed on the offense. There was a good chance that 2 was going to come down towards this bottom right pocket. I understand exactly why she's called it. A little bit unfortunate that she's left Kristina with such a good look at it, but was really born from that cue ball just misbehaving with the 8. Yeah, not really anything out there on the table of concern for Kristina now. She'll be focused on how she picks these remaining balls off, and you have to feel a little bit for Linnea as she has really been putting in the grind and effort. I felt she fully deserved to retain the lead in this third set and really ask a few questions of Kristina. With a quick turn of fate and Just a little misjudgment with the cue ball. And we now look at Kristina, possibly favourite to get to the hill first in this match. Just having a quick glance at the timer she was and called her extension. Doesn't want to have a shot clock beeping in her ear for this 8. And the reason being because she had to put a bit of a shot on it, and she has. Inside English with a bit of topspin, bringing it around the rails to get ideal for this 9. Confident pot at a crucial stage in this match. Great composure, wants to put that missed 10 out of her mind. And there we have it. That will be Kristina Tkach, first player on the hill in this deciding set. She leads 3 racks to 1. Has given Linnea Hjalmarström a real good challenge, and now has left her with a bit of a hill to climb. First, Linnea will be looking to get the opportunity at the table. But what I will say is that both of these players have performed so well. It's a shame one of them has to go through to the loser's bracket, but I feel that either of them in the loser's bracket will do damage as well. That's what I expected when I saw the lineups coming in. Let me just see if there are any other results of note. No, nothing in yet. Everything, though, moving along very nicely. Kelly Fisher locked at 1-1 with Xin Yu Hong, and they're also 1-1 in the deciding set. Just interesting to note for our viewers, coming up after this, we will have more action from the Carrinho Women's Open. And please do set your reminders and alarm clocks for this evening, where we will continue with our Predator Mixed Doubles Open action. That'll be starting at the moment 8 p.m. If there are any updates, I will let you know. We do have some fluid situations when matches do overrun, but so far so good. This event running very, very smoothly. And that's resulted in very relaxed and comfortable players. It brings the best out of them. On this occasion with Kristina's break, it's dry, and this is what Linnea would have wanted. However, I don't think she's got to look at the 1 ball, but she is at the table. Not a bad result. I do feel that Kristina will really look to put Linnea in a lot more trouble, but wasn't so much Linnea could do in that position. There's quite a bit of traffic on the table as we're at such an early stage in this fifth rack. I feel, just glancing off the bottom side of this one ball as we look at it, bringing the cue ball up the table, maybe leaving the one in the centre of the short rail would be a good option, but something's... Kristina's not happy with something. And she didn't want to go that way. There were reasons for it. And she's played a very nice shot there. Full ball cover. Great contact. Made the 5. That's what she called. Just confirming it to Kristina. Oh, unless it wasn't called. And it was Kristina actually telling Linnea that she didn't want to take this shot on. Either way, Linnea facing that escape. She's hit that great full ball contact, and if that one keeps sneaking, Kristina won't have a look at this. There are still some twists and turns left in this match. Again, Kristina, another great hit. She has a great ability to get out of safety and tough spots. But the result on this occasion is a good look at the one for Linnea, and this is what she will have wanted. Got a little bump on the 3 on the way through, took a bit of energy out of the ball. Just leaves a little bit more angle on this 2. But not much needed doing to hold for the 3. She's threaded that through the gap very nicely. And this rack has opened up very well. And this is what we saw in the second set. This young lady has a level of confidence in and amongst the balls which is really serving her well. Great fundamentals, and she really picks out some good positions. Again, just leaving the angle a little bit more obtuse than prime position, but she does like drawing these cue balls in and off the long rail. She plays them with such finesse. And we've been treated with both these ladies so far, and I've got a feeling we still have a couple of fireworks yet to let off. Oh, rode her luck a little bit there. Knew the flirtation with the middle or other side pocket was on. And it did look like the 10 threatened to spoil the party with the cue ball. However, she's on the 10. A little raise of the hand to Kristina. Ooh. Well, I shouldn't imagine it will affect this too much, but she ideally would not have wanted the cue ball that close to the cushion. But this 10 ball to bring the scoreline to 3-2 and keep her in this match. Linnea Hjalmarström has done that indeed. We will move to a sixth rack. And if Linnea is able to close this 6th rack out, we will move to a shootout. I have to say, after yesterday's, I'm not sure my heart can take much more. While Linnea just takes a deep breath and composes herself for this break. Another result that's just come in. Xu Qingqiang from Chinese Taipei has beaten the French lady Marianne Jude in straight sets. And what will be going through Linnea's mind here? I just want a shot after the break. She's making some fantastic clearances. You feel one good break and a good look at the table. She should fancy her chances of getting this to Hill. Kristina is just looking to get to the table and have a chance to spoil the party. Dry break. Nothing on the one directly. Combination is an option, something which Tkach has gone for on a few occasions in this match with success. Needs a ball to touch a rail. It hasn't. Ooh, what a time to make a mistake like that. Well, of all the situations you could have presented me with, I didn't feel that that was one that was even considered. However, for Linnea, I'm sure her eyes widened. Now let's have a look what the young Swede has to contend with. The 4-5 is something to be desired, and even 5-6, so she's going to have to fight for this one. We know she can do it. She's been doing it so far. Played well. Good angle on the 5. Just a quick double check to make sure that 6 passed the 10. It does. Very, very nicely, as our cameraman is showing us right now. Ooh, Linnea. Oh, she just caught that thicker than she'd hoped. And that's forced the cue ball towards the side pocket. Both players in the moment making a mistake. Only to be expected. The nerves must be tingling in the players. They are with me. And ball in hand to Kristina at this stage. Well, you'd have to put her now down as favourite to take the match, but you just know if Linnea gets back to the table, this could go to a shootout. So Kristina looking to ensure it doesn't. And what a finish so far. We've not finished, but what a finish we're having to this 3rd set. That will do. A gentle draw. Bring the cue back. The cue ball back, rather. Or even follow through if there's an angle. And this 10 ball to end what has been an absolute thriller of a winner's first round match. And if this is what the first round is going to deliver, well, ladies and gentlemen, this Women's Open should be up there with the special ones. And she has. And Kristina Tkach shakes hands with Linnea Hjalmarström, taking it in not a comfortable fashion. It went all the way. She winning 4-2 in the final deciding set. And I just want to say commiserations to Linnea Hjalmarström. The statistics will tell the story. She played